All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of the Main Event Mafia podcast. I am your host, Mr. Perfection himself, God's greatest creation, Lakota Carter. I'm here with my beautiful, beautiful fiance, Aviana, and we have a very special guest and a very frequent guest I think we will see more and more over time. I have my boy Andrew here. Man, how are you doing, man?
It has been a wild, wild weekend for sure. For sure.
It
Trying
really
to
has. It really has.
escape the Midwest weather as well as enjoy a very, very entertaining weekend because it's not all the time you get two pay-per-views in one day.
How is the weather down there, man? How is it?
Well, we got a little bit of everything we were going to get. We got everything overnight, that's the best time to get it because if it's going to be a power outage or something like that, you're already going to be asleep. So if anybody's going to be working on anything, it's fingers crossed everything's taken care of by the time you wake up, you start the next day, everything's good to go. But we didn't have anything to worry about, so it was just a typical rainstorm, and we were sleep through it. Yep, next day it's sunny, pretty. But we're supposed to have round two of everything tonight. So again, fingers crossed it is all while we are sleeping.
Hopefully. All right, man. So let's get
Hopefully.
into I think we'll go into Worlds Collide first. There's not a lot of talking points from that show, but there is a couple things I want to say about it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
My number one gripe with that show, you guys, and I don't want to say that I hated the show because I thought the show was very entertaining for what it was. But my biggest regret, sorry guys, I'm doing Zen and I can't swallow it because of heartburn. So anybody that doesn't like
understand.
Zen, yeah. So my one big gripe, and we were in the Discord, and you saw this just as well as I did.
Yep.
If somebody's going to do a dive off the ring, don't just fucking stand there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't stand there and make yourself look stupid. Like, really.
Mm-hmm. It made it feel like, oh, we just got to wait for our next spot.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was a language barrier, but 90% of those guys on that card were of Hispanic descent.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. And it really felt like it was more, instead of it being the taping for a pay-per-view, it was like it was the scrimmage, or it was the practice for, and the guys were just standing around. Obviously you want to have the guys out there to catch or to protect those who are doing the acrobatics over and make sure they have the proper landing, proper, safe landing, whatever you want to call it, even though it's going to look painful still. But at the same time, you don't want it to make it extremely obvious. Joe Schmo is just down there waiting. Like, if you're going to have someone down there, have them down there fist fight with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then they look up shortly after and, oh, hey, look, here's a body coming right at me. But instead it's, okay, I see you. Okay. Oh, wait, you're like 4 feet in front of me, and flop, there you go.
And there was one person that didn't get caught, right?
I mean, and that just sounded painful too. I mean, that was like when someone's doing a belly flop into the water and it's the hard smack, and ow, I'm sorry, man. Ouch.
But to me, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, this will be up on Spotify, so don't forget to leave your comments.
Oh, yeah. Bring them on. Bring them on.
But to me, it felt like something that could have been on Tubi.
Yeah.
Because they already have that relationship with Evolve, which is a great show, by the way.
It is. It is.
But it felt like something that they could have added to that Tubi partnership that we all wouldn't have been like, It would have been fine right there.
Yeah.
And the one big takeaway before we go on to Money in the Bank, Chad Gable and Vikingo had match of the weekend.
Yes. I mean, out of both pay-per-views, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would still say that was the best match of both events.
Both events. But it also showed, I mean, this was Andrew's first time seeing Vikingo wrestle. So It also showed that Vikingo can actually work. He's not just a flippy dippy guy. He can actually work.
He's put some serious time in, and it showed.
Yeah.
And it also shows how much Chad has improved from when he first started. And you can see he's put in some serious time here recently as well, because his game has seriously evolved. Or he has just not been able to show his true potential that he's had out of his bag. And now he is starting to show his full resume, which, if that's the case, dude, I'm so sorry you haven't been showing that since day one, because damn.
Yeah.
It's been impressive.
He, to me, and we'll get on to Money in the Bank in just a second, but to me, he was the MVP of this weekend. For sure.
Yes. I mean, I will say he's up there. And he will be up there in the conversation.
The only reason that I say that is because he wrestled a 15-minute match with Vikingo.
Yes.
And then wrestled a 40-plus minute match and took some insane bumps in that match.
Yes. But he was not the only one this weekend who did multiple matches.
We'll get to that in a second.
And that's why I got to say he can't be the only one in the conversation for MVP this weekend, because someone else did multiple matches and did a damn good job. So
Andrew's favorite person on the planet other than his wife and children, Stephanie Vicker. We'll get to her in a second. But going on to Money in the Bank, I guess we'll kick it off, go by card order. It was the women's Money in the Bank kicked off the show. How do you feel about that match?
Which they did a great job. They really did. I mean, in the women's matches, for the longest time, I hate saying this, but for the longest time, their matches were always the bathroom break matches.
Yes.
They are now getting to the point where it is the ones where you want to sit down and see. You stop everything else and you're paying attention, because they are outclassing the men's matches. And I love it.
It took them a long time to get there. You've been watching wrestling for a long time. Oh, look who decided to jump in, y'all. Looky here.
Oh.
Look at it, the living legend himself, Mr. J.R. Sparrow. How you doing, J.R.?
Hey, there he is.
I'm doing pretty good, man, but all of my gear, nothing's hooked up right now, so I sound crazy.
Hey, we gonna
go. Hey, there he is.
Yeah. Kansas City.
Hey, for a while, man. For a while.
God. You're a Cincinnati Reds fan now, aren't you?
No.
I'll send you some gear later. No problem.
No. It will be returned to sender.
Pittsburgh Pirates?
No, return to sender, my man.
I can't send you anything from Cleveland because I just don't like the name of their.
That's okay. I'd return to sender that too, so that's all right.
All right, JR. I asked him. We'll go back to you since you're in here now. Worlds Collide. How do you feel about the show, man?
As a whole, it was a great introduction to Lucha Libre. Let's discount the first match that we seen. The women were the best spectacle, I want to say. But outside of that, it was a good thing. What's his name? Octagon Jr. already has a shirt on WWE Network, on the website. So it's like Octagon Jr. is going to be a star.
Absolutely.
And and just with them acquiring more talent from Mexico and hopefully in exchange with a few Japanese wrestlers. And I'm not saying Ultimate Dragon because he's a little too old, but somebody will get in there and make things right on that end. Yep. But the only thing I want to say is that I don't want to happen. I don't want AAA to be treated as a development. It needs to be on SmackDown. It needs to be somewhere where it makes sense for it to be on TV. It's not Raw caliber because that's over on Netflix or whatever. But when we're looking at Brandon and what TKO does for things, the title that the Viking Son has needs to be equivalent to a WWE Heavyweight Championship. It cannot be contested with the NXT title, such as how the TNA title is.
Right. Do they have enough on their roster to be able to do that, though, is my question.
No.
To be able to have a weekly TV or monthly program, bi-weekly, something.
As of right now, no.
No. I don't think so. And JR, I said this earlier, and you weren't in here when I said it, but they have a deal with Tubi. Because they already have that Evolve show on Tubi that's absolutely fantastic. So what about putting AAA over there on Tubi and just kind of giving them that spotlight and giving them more partnership with Tubi? Like I said with Andrew, I feel like this Worlds Collide show would have fit really well on Tubi.
Yeah, the whole YouTube integration, that's another thing I want to talk about. After looking at, have y'all looked at statistics, how much money was made by TKO this weekend?
No, I didn't look at this. Just to that. I can't say that fucking word.
Stats. Yeah, stats. Yeah. So I will say this. overall, I would like to see it somewhere other than YouTube because it was a lot of lag. And even though you live in the future, Mr. Lakota, and you have the fastest internet on earth, um, some of us like me and Andrew, our internet just comes in pieces and parts.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was 5 minutes behind you guys almost after a while.
Yeah.
yeah, so my struggle is with YouTube. It would lag for me a little bit, and y'all know how I do with devices. I could be on a computer, I could be
Right.
in a health station,
Hardwired
whatever.
or Wi-Fi. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm on like 6 different devices when I'm watching wrestling as it is. So I need it to be concrete. So Tubi would be fine. Tubi didn't have a problem with the Super Bowl this year. And Stacy, you can account for that. She ain't even paying attention. We were in Philly. No, we went to Philly the week after. But anyway, Tubi can handle put that. Or think about this. Let's make it obscure
TV's
for a
already
little.
doing better than Netflix did. So I mean, look at Netflix and the Paul fight with
Oh,
with
good
Tyson.
God.
I mean, they screwed that up big time.
That was
Oh,
awful.
I would say what I would want to see is I would want it on TV, but I want a special ever so often on CW. Because if you already got it on CW, like do something
Yeah.
there, or even if they put it in a weird syndication and they can get another deal, because they're already dealing with Netflix. You know what? I'm gonna be quiet on that one. I would want to see that. No, I'm gonna say this one thing. I would love to see it on regular access TV, like somewhere, not a Fox, but maybe an ABC type deal, because ABC
Right.
trying to get it mixed, or just it would, it could go on there, or what is the other network, the El Rey network or something?
El Rey Network?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but put
Yeah,
it somewhere where it's actually going to get views and not just one ethnic group of views.
Mhm.
Put it somewhere where it's going to get a lot of attention.
true.
Because honestly, your average person doesn't know what the El Rey network is.
No.
Right. So yeah, like it could be on TV for a while, but the only reason I would want it on CW is because it would be a great thing. Like it could be an amazing Saturday morning event. Because children in this day and age don't have Saturday morning wrestling. And when
No.
Andrew and I were growing up, we were like
We
the
had Saturday morning wrestling. We had Saturday night wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, and you
And
had
then
both brands. You had WWE or WWF at the time had the morning. You had WCW had the nighttime. So or if vice versa. So I mean, you had every single day of the week at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'll say this, so like what was really cool was if you lived in certain areas, like when I would go visit my aunt in DC, later on in life, like when I was 99, no, man, it may have been in 2000. Ring of Honor used to come on in the middle of the night, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, like 12, 2 o'clock in the morning. So
That
It
had to
still
come on
came.
certain
It
times though
still
because
when
of how much
before.
they
Sorry.
were.
Go ahead.
Ring of Honor had to come on at certain times
Mhm.
because of what they were still allowing to come on, and they were not censoring anything. So they had no choice but to have it at after midnight or whatever.
And then heck, we even had TNN for a little bit having ECW until WWE went over there. So yeah, just a place like Andrew said that makes sense. I can go with that. Overall, as a pay per view, if I've got to rate it on my Dave Metzer scale, it gets a 4.5 because it produced the match of the year
Mhm.
right now.
Mhm.
And the problem that I had was that Chad Gable, and the Son of the Viking, they literally had the best match overall on both programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But my worry about AAA, and we'll go back to Money in the Bank in just a second. But my worry about AAA is I don't want them to become the new NXT.
Correct. But at the same time, I don't want to see them become the next NWO, LWO, something like that. Not a faction, but their own brand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll throw this
Because
one in there.
they're too small to be their own brand, to have their own network or their own 2-hour time slot. But I want to see them expand and be as big as TNA, as AEW, as WWE, whoever. I want to see them continue to grow and just get more and more popular and to produce more and more superstars. I just don't want them to spend 6 months being a small little faction and then blow up because creative decides, hey, we're going to do this now. And then find out, well, we just shit the bed. And they ruin something that could have had tremendous potential.
I don't want it to be the next WWE ECW.
Yes.
That's the best example I can give y'all because ECW, even though it didn't thrive very long, CM Punk came through that filter. the late Chris Benoit.
Yeah,
was
Rhino,
Yeah, Rhino. These people were kind of,
Sandman. I mean, a ton of people.
yeah, they
Mhm.
were slated to make that a big brand. And
Yeah.
after Benoit passed away and the plans were rewritten, ECW never picked back up, and then it disappeared
Right.
one day.
Mhm.
Right.
Because you can't put a heavyweight belt on Bobby Lashley too long.
No.
It's not good for business.
All right. Well, we were talking about the women's Money in the Bank right before you joined.
Okay.
How do you feel about that match, and did it impress you?
Let's be honest. We know what clip impressed me. I was appreciative of Julia in this match.
Mm.
Even though she still doesn't have a character, and we could just put her on any show anytime and just switch her braids out and change them different colors, and we could call her the daughter of Kari Scene or anything like that, or anything we wanted to. Her and our star Stephanie proved a point. I had already called Naomi winning, which I do get credit for that.
Yep.
I see what they're doing, but what they did a great storytelling and a great setup for Evolution.
They did.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to take away from that match. I had to think about, I'm not worried about the championship implications, but I knew what it was setting up. It was starting new feuds. It was building a headliner match between Rhea Ripley and Stephanie.
Yes.
Roxanne Perez, with what she's done in correcting some of the flaws that she's had since she's been on the main roster or beforehand, Roxanne has set herself up in an area where we're going to start asking questions about this United States title. When is Selena Vega going to drop it, and which one of these upcoming stars is she going to drop it to? The other thing with this, it set up a situation where one of these women has to go face the man.
I can see that.
Okay.
Because think about this: the Irish feud that's going on will be done before main event. That rematch will happen on a Raw. It's not going to be something that they're going to want to put another PLE worth of time into. Either Valkyrie's hurt, or they're trying to get her into a different persuasion. Maybe even move her brands, because it would make sense now.
Yeah.
See that?
And it's going to give her legs. But one person in particular that I'm still got a question mark on is, when are we going to see Chelsea Green? That was my only disappointment. Chelsea Green should have had a place in that match. Even though I don't need her to win anything, but being the ambassador for women's wrestling right now, we need her.
I'm
I
a
see
huge
that.
Chelsea Green fan, so I could see her being pushed to the world title at some point. But like you said, I feel like she deserved a spot in this match. I felt like she could have took Julia's spot. Even though you said that you were really impressed with Julia and stuff. But Julia, like you said, has no character. Like, to me, we could literally change her hairstyle and people would mistake her for Xia Li.
Right?
Like,
oh God. Oh God.
You
Now,
know,
I got one for y'all.
Mhm.
She reminds me of the Ultimate Warrior ripoff from WCW, Renegade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
I don't have anyone to put her up against, but the only way Julie is ever going to get any stock or move up in the world with me is if a certain wrestler from over there returns back, and we don't need to say her name right now because she could be making an appearance at Evolution, so I don't want to jinx us there. If a certain wrestler that momentum got stopped by Charlotte Flair comes back, that is who will pass the torch to Julia if it happens that way. If it doesn't, but Julia is better than an enhancement talent.
Yeah. So you guys were overall happy with the result and everything?
Yes.
No complaints there, no aggravations?
I'm happy. Well, let me rephrase. I'm not mad that Naomi got it. I'm mad with Naomi's character at the moment. I think that she would be better as a face than a heel, but they've just never given her the opportunity and the push as a face. They've always given her that as a heel. and I'm just not a fan of it. But she has deserved this for the longest time, and I hope they just do her justice with the current push. So I just hope she does it well.
Yeah, she's dropping the belt to Cargill though.
Mm.
Are you sure about that?
I'm almost 85% sure that when
All
she
right.
does cash in,
Let me do you a favor there. Now you're Mr. TNA. What service would she do getting the belt and passing it on to a former TNA knockout? Who would be the TNA knockout that would make sense for her to lose to?
Jordan Grace.
Right. Isn't that a feud?
That is a feud, but where is Jordan?
I mean, Jordan's assigned to SmackDown.
Yeah, but have we seen her?
We can build all that up because
Yeah.
they only do 2-week storylines now, so she can just come out and
That's my gripe with her is you build her up as this big gigantic star, which she is, and then she's not on TV.
Give it time. Because
Yeah.
wasn't she involved in that match when not too long ago there was that massive botch and she what's her face jumped on the rope and then tore ACL or something?
Zoe Stark,
Yeah.
was she involved in that?
I thought she was part of that fatal 4-way.
Hold on.
go back and find out who that was because I got to remember who that was.
I don't think who that was. Who was it? You got my phone?
Let me see.
Here, Google who's
I'm
in that
on my
fatal four-way
phone, so I
when Zoe
can't
Stark
really.
tore her ACL.
Yeah, and I know normally it looks like I'm on computer equipment, but look, my roadcaster got stuck.
Oh, gee.
So, and the mic's right here, but I'm actually on the phone too.
Thinking about that, I'm gonna turn the Godfather off and just I'm at my computer. I'll just get on it and look.
Yeah, Google that for us.
What?
He's
And I've
got it.
got shitty hotel internet, so I'm just.
But I'm like 85% sure. Like I
I don't think it was. I don't think it was her. It was
Mhm.
somebody else because the person that blocked it, I said they're going to.
I have been getting these ladies really confused here recently too. So
Well, but here's another thing I want to give y'all my because I'm the women's wrestler guru and enthusiast on this.
Mhm.
The problem is you had a lot of women's wrestling emphasized. You had the glorious one or the glamorous one coming to NXT. You had a lot of shock value, and you had a lot of. Let's be honest. Everybody's wrapped around Stephanie right now.
Mhm.
yeah,
And why would you want to? Because like you got to think they kind of pushed Julie up there, and we didn't care. We're just like go wherever you need to go. But Jordan, they're going to give her a spot. You know, her spot's going to definitely be a meaningful feud for her. Will be to beat up Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
They're going to give her the proper treatment, and that's the only thing I will say under this Triple H reign is they follow what TNA and other wrestling organizations do good with women's wrestling.
Mhm.
And when Shawn Michaels gets involved, like with Evolution and stuff, that's when wrestling gets better for women. When
Mhm.
Shawn Michaels just has to run NXT, he gets confused and he partied a lot, man. He turned his life around and then, residuals from all that partying. But I would say this if we could get a meaningful feud with her with one of the ladies on SmackDown, and we're going to have a few more releases coming soon.
yeah, about that.
Okay.
Didn't somebody mention something earlier about some releases?
Maxine, was that confirmed?
Yeah, I still haven't heard any confirmation on that. But speaking of confirmation, looks like Zoe Stark suffered her knee injury during a Money in the Bank qualifying match. It was a triple threat, not a fatal 4-way. It was Zoe Stark, Rhea Ripley, and Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
It was Carrie Sane that messed her up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was she was supposed to apparently go be on one side of the ring and coming in at the same time that Zoe was jumping from the ropes over to her, and she decided I'm still going to jump even though she was nowhere close. And yeah,
All right,
So
so
it
that
was
was an
100%
honest
Zoe's
accident. But
judgment.
you gotta always remember, well, Carrie Sane, she has flashbacks of when she got destroyed by Nia Jax. So her
oh yeah,
wrestling,
I have PTSD from that too.
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
So that's one thing there that just kind of, I don't
Yeah.
know.
But the last time I think I seen Jordan Grace on WWE programming was NXT
Okay, I mean,
a few weeks ago.
Well, you figure they're getting her suited up, figuring out if they're going to sign her husband or not. They got a lot of things that they have to factor with her. They bring her in. They got to bring her husband on as a trainer. If she goes to the main roster, he has to be working in that capacity.
Yeah.
And no offense to him, but his politics with AEW and the whole Ring of Honor situation.
Oh, he's a bitch.
Yeah, we'll keep him out of professional wrestling.
He's a bitch.
Unless he can get a deal with TNA again.
He's a bitch.
But he's the Black Austin Aries, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, he's a bitch. Jonathan Gresham, you're a bitch. But
bro, but don't say it too loud because you're about the same height as him, and he's like his shoulders are as wide as Texas.
Hey, brother, I have always had a problem with Jonathan Gresham. But the second match on the card.
According to Google, as of today, June 8th, there is no information indicating that Maxine Dupree has been released from WWE. So wherever that information came from earlier, as of right now, it's not been publicly released.
Okay.
I hate when people get tired and give us lackluster information.
Yeah. Second match on the card, if I'm correct, was Octagon Jr. versus Dom.
That was impressive. I have to admit, young Guerrero, Mysterio is doing a pretty decent job, and they're allowing him to actually start winning matches without full distractions.
Yes.
And yes, there was a distraction, but there was no legit hands-on somebody or an actual, somebody hitting somebody with a chair or anything like that. It was just a quick, hey, I'm up here on the ropes. I'm just gonna, be an attractive woman that's getting your attention. It was a classic
heel female manager move.
Right. But any manager can do that at any time, which is done all the time in any kind of match where there's a manager around. But other than that, it was a legit one-on-one match, and he proved his mettle.
I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it got done when it needed to get done, which is for the people that didn't see Worlds Collide to see Octagon Jr. I think he's going to be a very focal point of WWE now. I think he's going to get more TV time on WWE programming than he will AAA programming.
Right. Well, there's certain ones that you could look at and tell that, hey, they're going to be something. There's a young man that you will talk about a little bit later on that handles a certain type of reptile. He's going to be a thing. And the only thing is because he's that nostalgic, that mystical Mexican wrestler coming over to WWF type style, and that's and he's going to be great for merchandise.
Yeah.
So I can go right there. Now this match here, I liked it, but what really made this match amazing was the performance of the frog splash. The frog splash was done in the manner that they do in Lucha Libre. It's actually not a splash. Like, it's not like, it's actually done on the back. And a lot of people don't know that because when you think of frog splash, you think of two people, Eddie Guerrero and Rob Van Dam. And both of them, that's an Americanized one. So when he paid homage doing it on that guy's back, I was like, whoa, they're tying in too much Lucha Libre. And the average fan doesn't know that.
Right.
So I was like, whoa, he actually did that. And, that's how you beat him because that would put a lot of pressure on your back, make your ribs hit. So I really appreciated that and the storytelling that went along there because it's like, hey, I'm better than the rest of Lucha Libre. So it gives an opportunity with an intercontinental belt, so two continents, which WWE, you could easily take the U.S. belt and call it the North American title. It gives a belt that can be on both programs.
Right.
It's going to give that belt a certain prestige, and I hate to say it, that belt may become the new cruiserweight intercontinental belt.
Would they get rid of the name WWE and bring out a TKO belt that could go to either brand?
No.
No.
Just think about it. Now, hold on. I'm going to take what you said, Andrew, and I'm going to add this to it. If they created a belt that was not in the lineage of the intercontinental, yes. I could see them bringing out something, but they're going to put a weight limit on it. And that's what's going to hurt AAA because AAA has some heavyweight wrestlers that move.
Yeah, they do.
And that's the only thing I'm scared about is because, like, when I'm thinking back
or if they just have it as a cruiserweight. Just bring the cruiserweight title back. But could that be something that could just be either or, WWE or AAA? But that would mean that those superstars could wrestle on either program.
Brand.
and could have it part of why you would have a 2-hour event for AAA on TV weekly or whatever.
And one thing that's attractive is that they do something that I like: trios. That
Mhm.
3 tag person belt, and that can
Right.
get a lot of our low card wrestlers chances
Yes.
to wrestle. So I see
Mhm.
the integration of AAA belts going across the line. Just the equivalency is what I'm afraid of. Is this going to equal to this title? Now with the trio belts, that would just be amazing for them to go to every show and do it. Even if they go to NXT and take on the next upcoming future jobbers. You know, that's
Right.
something, I would say, like, for instance, what is that AEW got us in NXT right now? The
Ricky
Perfect 10.
Starks,
No, the Perfect 10.
Sean Spears.
Yeah. You were about to call him Ty Dillinger.
I was.
All right, so him, for instance, if they got a second member to be 3 of them, that would be a group that I could see fighting for that because it would
Mhm.
make sense. They're established, blah, blah, blah. So it's a lot of things that creatively, like y'all said, could go one that would make sense. But one thing that comes from AAA that's going to be a great value are their women wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 I can see that. What was your thoughts on Octagon Junior? That was your first time seeing actual lucha libre.
Yeah.
So did it impress you? Did it not impress you? Was it like whatever to you, or did it open your eyes like I want to watch more lucha libre?
I liked it a lot. I liked
Well, I figured, man, being from your background where you're from a lucha libre family, that you would, you'd have your roots there, right?
Yeah, she's actually distant cousins with El Grande Americano. So,
Yep.
yeah, you need to check on him. Make sure he's okay from this past weekend.
Well, shit, I'm surprised that man didn't need stitches.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to
Literally.
need to FaceTime him later and see how he's doing.
I'll FaceTime him. I'll tell you how he's doing.
But I thought this match did great. The next match on the card, which to me, it wasn't as good as their first match, but it was good. And it was Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Great match. Although I want to know how much pain is Valkyria in 24 hours after the event, because the way that her welds were showing on her right shoulder blade,
She had a
she
big
was busted
crack on it
open
too, right?
and it was bruised up. She looked like she was in pain.
But that's just the price of the business, so many times for me, people can get like with the Bianca Belair hair whip. We've seen her
Ooh.
cut people open before.
Yeah, with her hair.
Yeah, with her braid. But yeah, I would like to know if she was in pain afterwards, because she had to be. That was a huge whelp on her shoulder. So to me, like I said, I don't think this was as great as their first match at Backlash, but it did what it needed to do. And the only gripe that I have is the finish. Now I get why they did that finish, because now it has, oh, you had my tights. There's your trilogy between those 3. I get that. But after that incredible match that they had at Backlash, because it was one of my favorite matches of the year. Wasn't the best match of the year, but it was one of my favorites.
Right. Right.
To me, that finish kind of felt like, oh, well, what the, it came out of nowhere. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to have this
Did they have a
incredible
time limit
match.
on that match?
Huh?
Do they have a time limit announced on that match by chance?
No.
Okay.
So to me,
Because it did seem like there for a bit it was going on a little longer than what it probably could have or should have. So they did kind of feel like at the end it was a little rushed, but
Yeah.
or maybe it was one of those that maybe with her shoulder injury or the issue that Valkyria had, maybe she called it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was after a certain time, maybe it was, hey, she knew, hey, after a certain bit, let's wrap it up, gave her a code word or whatever. But maybe she called it early because of the issue she was having with her back. I don't know.
But it just felt rushed to me, especially the finish, because they were doing so good. They were going back and forth, and then it all ended with a pretty shitty looking roll up.
Yeah.
So that was my one gripe.
Very sloppy.
Yeah, it was very sloppy. JR, do you have anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, I do have something to add to this, and this is going to be harsh. When you start getting yourself to a Hulk Hogan status, where you're so heavy in creative that your character can't be smeared, and you become the new, well, because actually Charlotte Flair puts over people. Becky Lynch is becoming Hulk Hogan. She's on a gold chase. She wants to become the women's Grand Slam champion. So I see it in a longer in the future range. This is only setting her up to go after the U.S. belt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of that stuff like that, I hate that I got a mind like that. I just seen this as a cheap cop out because they could have had an amazing match at Evolution, or somewhere else that made sense. This match or Backlash could have been where Becky could have won it, and then I wouldn't even have been mad.
Mm-mm.
But I was mad about this because creatively she put her claws in there to do it that way. And knowing the backstage politics of how everybody hates Charlotte Flair makes new talent acceptable and actually tries to work with me, even though I got my gripes with her on wanting to win the women's title every time she wrestles. But Becky, and even with the gear, like Becky's never been this lazy on her appearance and on her wrestling ability. She wrestled one of the worst matches I've ever seen her in. And I know that's a little harsh, but
No,
Becky,
when you look back at her career, you can say that for sure.
yeah. So I was utterly disappointed giving her an Intercontinental belt. That's her Hulk Hogan clause. I ain't mad about that because if I've been around that long, I'm going to get all the belts so that I can say that I'm not John Cena. I want to say that she is the man because now she has the belt John Cena needs. So I give her respect there. Has she won tag team titles yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so see, that's even worse now. She
won it with Valkyria when she came back because she took Bailey's place, remember?
Oh, yeah, she did.
And then they lost it the very next night.
Oh, yeah, so that's Hulk Hogan clause. Y'all see what I'm saying about she's the new Hulk Hogan?
There's very, very star-striking similarities between those two.
Yeah.
But like we were saying earlier, they could still have the 3-peat match because of the way that this match ended with the holding of the tights, because now she's going to get a rematch clause. But claim her rematch for main event or Evolution. But then at that point, there is the stipulation. No matter what, neither one of them can go after each other for that title, no matter what the result is.
And bring back
at that point, she gives it back to Valkyria.
Yeah, and bring back one of my favorite stipulations because I think this feud would work with it. An I Quit match.
Yes. Has there been a women's I Quit match or a women's Iron Man match?
Yeah, there's been a women's Iron Man. I don't think there has been a women's I Quit match.
When was the women's Iron Man match? Who was that between? I can't remember.
Look,
I want to say that was
I'm gonna Sasha and Bailey in NXT.
I'm gonna give this to you guys. Like, you almost had me sold on it, but it's got to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. It needs to go around the building. It needs to erupt. It needs to get these people ready to hurt somebody. Like, we need to see some death-defying stuff and see if this is going to build up to what Backlash was. We need a Falls Count Anywhere match.
But you can still do all that stuff in an I Quit match.
There's already been an I Quit match.
So we need to. Have we had a Falls Count?
It was against Melina and Beth Phoenix at One Night Stand.
Oh, well, fuck. We don't count those.
Hey, what about Falls Count Anywhere?
Yeah, we don't count the Divas era because it was probably a 5-minute match.
And Melina was a very accomplished wrestler. I think
there's been multiple Falls Count Anywhere matches. Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks on Raw. Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark. Nikki Bella versus Natalya.
Ooh, that's something we gotta get into later. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Nikki Bella. But so to finish it up, so I don't go on forever on a tangent. The match was the worst match. It did nothing for me.
And out of all of them, to say that one's the worst one, even though it was still a good match, that's saying something to how great the card was.
Yeah.
Because at first there was only 4 matches, and then we find out at Worlds Collide there's a 5th match. And so to say that one was the worst match of the night, it was a great night.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I did like the idea of actually having a mid card belt being defended. Both both intercontinental belts were defended. U.S. champions were doing whatever they were doing.
We'll get that in a second.
Yeah,
I mean,
Still feel they could have had another title match.
you
right.
could have had
Squeezed in there somewhere.
Tiffany or Io on the card.
Yeah,
Either
they
one.
should have.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I mean, if you're gonna have a Money in the Bank match for both sexes, there needs to be one potential opportunity to cash in that night with having a match with one of those potential belts on the line for that opportunity, or some kind of interview or something to happen to where that champion is there.
Yeah. How did you feel about the match? Do you agree that it was the worst one of the night?
Which one?
Becky and Lyra.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. So the next match after that was the men's Money in the Bank. I will say this. There's one person that I want to talk about. We'll get to him further on down the analysis. Jacob Fatu is a star.
Yep.
And now they're finally going to let him break out of that shadow. And it's taken way too long for me anyway, because I followed Jacob all the way from MLW. Like I know him and Hammerstone threw out some bangers, y'all. If y'all don't know about Hammerstone and Fatu, look it up. Watch whatever you can, because those two together were magical. But I thought that they did his turn very well, and we'll get to it as we go along. But how did you guys feel about this match, and did it do anything for you?
JR, you start this one.
Okay, so let's just be honest. LA Knight in this match, he was a dud. It actually brought down his star value.
Yeah.
So I see him regulated to back down lower mid card.
Oh.
Because here's the thing, the way that he was dealt with in that match, it looked like he was being pushed to punished.
Yeah.
And I hate to see
agree with that.
And I hate to see that with him. Going over to Penta. Penta's got a weird situation. He's gonna have to be careful because they could just simply take the momentum away from him and send him to AAA.
Yeah.
And let him be the heavyweight champion again or whatever he was there. Which he wouldn't care, but that's one thing I'm scared about with him. He had good spots in this match. Seth Rollins overall, we know he was spectacular in this. Interference and everything else that went on. And like overall for the match, it wasn't predictable for me. It was for a few of you all. Solo is about to embark on the feud that's going to either make him a superstar or he's going to be the next Uso that we don't even say his name.
Yeah.
So that's this match for what Solo's become, which he's become a comedic act, which I like because his mic skills are really good for what he's doing. It gives us a way to have a clean break. Our two gorillas right now that are sitting at home with mysterious injuries, it gives them a chance to be a true tag team without all this weird interaction with Solo. And it is going to give Solo a chance to at some point form a trios group that'll go after those AAA titles. What it will do to Solo is it dropped his stock 1,000%. Solo, after his feud with Mr. Fatu, will be regulated to the lower card.
Yeah.
It's no more trying to build a superstar when, Jay's proven a point that it can only be a few Samoans at the top.
Yes.
And you have to have something that stands out. And that's always been the problem with Solo. Solo is this version's Taz without the good suplexing skills. And that's what ultimately hurts him. But overall, as a match, it was a great match. Everybody got a great showcase. Just like I said, with this way I think, when I see these people losing stock value, I just see it and I just turn my head away. And it's like the problem with the product, which has always been there, even since when Vince McMahon was there, is what do you do with your losers? Where do you send them? Who do you get to take them on? Because we've seen Seth Rollins' faction come out there and annihilate Mr. Americana.
Yeah.
He got speared so hard that his hair grew back. And for him, that was a great easy exit so that he doesn't have to worry about their storyline whatsoever. He can go
Right.
back to what he's doing with the Luchadors, which that was fine for him. He had an amazing match too because he's shown now that it's time to put a belt on him. Like, let's not let your last great developed wrestler fall by the wayside. We don't need another Dolph Ziggler. We don't need another Bobby Roode. We need to get around this guy. And I know that we have problems with the mid card belts because you have the Unstoppable Force and then you have Dom, which they're going to hold on to the titles for a while. We might, like I said, we really just need a television title or take one of those AAA belts and let it just take care of the mid card for a while.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like the Latin American belt, be like, hey, if we test your blood and you're a quarter Latin or something, you can fight for this belt. You know, but overall, a great match. Was it one of the best Money in the Banks? No, because y'all foreshadowed what was going to happen.
To me, it wasn't even match of the night on this card. And to me, I know it's cliche and I might be an old head, but if it's going to be Money in the Bank, make Money in the Bank a memorable match.
Yes.
We had memorable spots, but it's not going to be a memorable match.
No.
Right.
And I thought they did Jacob's face turn because he's a face now. We can say that, right? I mean, it's not being confirmed, but I think he'll be like an anti-hero, kind of like Roman Reigns, where he's not like either way, but he'll be.
It might still be too early to tell him that yet.
Okay.
It might still be too early.
Yeah.
I would like him to stay as a heel, like, because we need him to be bad. We just need him. You know what? He's going to beat Solo into being a face. Like,
Quite
just think about
possibly.
it.
I don't
Just
think he's
think
going to
about
beat
it.
Solo to beat a face. I think he's going to beat Solo into being a bitch.
Damn.
Jacob Fatu is going to be the next in line.
Because he's been the enforcer
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
I
He's
know
been
what
seen
this
as
is
the
leading to.
badass enforcer.
Yeah.
And now
not
Fatu
true.
is going to basically just have him as a dog on a leash.
I
and
know
just make
exactly
him a
what this is
bitch.
leading to.
Mhm.
I know exactly what this is leading to. We will get that whole Jacob Fatu solo thing.
Okay.
But who's next in line for head of the table?
It's over with.
Nope, it's not. You still got one big money match. Roman and Jacob.
Mhm.
I can see Roman and Jacob fighting, and Roman finally riding off into the sunset, and that Ulafala goes to Jacob Fatu.
All right, so let's be realistic. If they're going to do something like that, they're going to have Roman save Solo, and that'll lead to SummerSlam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But think about this: they don't have enough time dealing with Roman Reigns as of the moment to have him do anything but SummerSlam or WrestleMania or Royal Rumble. He's not doing anything else this year creatively that's going to
Yeah.
help or make or break that. That's the thing that gets, like I said, my mind works too forward sometimes. That's my problem with Roman Reigns. Like, we need him to be built up by SummerSlam. Can we execute Solo out of the way and let Jacob step up and run his mouth to Roman Reigns?
There's enough time.
I
But
mean, we get
I
a pay
don't
per
know.
view every 2 weeks now, bro. Like, how are we going to do this?
For SummerSlam?
Yeah, bro. It's like, I mean, I know that it feels like it's more than every 2 weeks, but I feel like every 2 weeks now, bro, we get a new pay per
Because
view.
we have Clash of Champions coming up and then SummerSlam.
King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, that's happening at Clash of Champions.
It's that Clash of Champions, ain't it?
Yeah. I think that's when the tournament's happening. Don't quote me on it.
I thought it was happening on Raw, but
Use the almighty Google machine. No, that's the the tournament starts on there, but the end, I think,
Clash of Champions.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because the tournament starts this Monday.
But you got to remember this: Roman Reigns, when he comes back, his feud's automatically set up with Seth Rollins and CM
Yeah.
Punk. So he's locked in for something now. You know, like I said, if he's going to do something with them, it'll be then. Or if they carry this feud all the way to Royal Rumble with Solo and Jacob, that's where Roman can come in. But Roman's already built into a feud. And we know, and I'm going to make this prediction on your show, Monday we may have a new world champion.
Oh,
and his name's Seth Rollins.
man, I'm telling you, Jey Uso is exhausted.
If he tries to cash in, I'm still saying CM Punk will interfere like he did last year, and when he screwed over McIntyre.
But what if that's when we get Roman back? What if he costs Seth the briefcase?
Or it could
Ooh,
be Roman that steps in instead and interferes.
Mhm.
right. I can see that. Or, oh no, you could have a cash in, right?
Mhm.
And I had a T-shirt on a few days ago of a guy that could be turning heel.
Alistair.
Think
Oh,
Sammy gets in the way?
I like
You
where
think
you're going with
Sammy
this.
interferes and stops Seth?
Right, or Sammy help him.
Oh,
Mm.
that's his heel
Man, I
turn.
didn't think about that. That could
'Cause-
be how they do it.
Unless Sami Zayn is going to be set up for something bigger later on down the road. Because we all know that they're not going to do another 6-man. They're not going to involve CM Punk, Sami Zayn, and something for Survivor Series. Unless
Mhm.
that's a plan later on. But we don't have anything major in September or October that's going to bring us like major storylines when it comes to our world titles and Seth Rollins,
Nah,
CM Punk.
Crown Jewel in October, and then September you've got potentially No Mercy, but that's probably going to be NXT.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you got Clash in Paris at the end of August. Beginning of August, you got SummerSlam. Evolution is going to be July 13th. The night before that's going to be Great American Bash, but that's NXT.
Yeah, and
And
at
then
the same time that NXT's running Great American Bash, we're getting all in for AEW. So nobody's watching or all out
as
or whatever
well
it is.
as you've got Saturday Night Main Event going on right before Great American Bash.
Mhm.
Damn, I hope people don't tune out from NXT for that.
That's why I'm glad I'm going to have 2 screens going on at once. Because I'm going to be watching both.
Right.
Yeah, I could do that too.
I mean, I probably can do that too. I have enough screens, but I'm not watching AEW. I'm not supporting them.
Come on, man. They got a good
Their
card.
pay-per-views have been interesting, though.
All right,
But
my only thing is that they have the worst wrestler on earth. We can do an AEW show anytime, so let's not waste time on that. Um,
all right, but
what?
end of the men's match.
Oh.
I like the opportunity that the Money in the Bank matches provide.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of seeing people who have won it before winning it again.
Yeah.
I want to start seeing people get their first experience moving up in the company winning the briefcase instead of people who have won it multiple times.
Is that a Triple H decision or is that a TKO decision, though? Because you got to think the debt that they're in, Seth Rollins is a safe spot. You know what I mean? Like he's a safe bet. Like, okay, everybody likes Seth Rollins, except for John, who who apparently hates Seth Rollins. But it's just to me, like I get what you're saying, and I understand. Like I'm with you on that. I don't like seeing people win it too, unless it makes sense. This to me
Right.
made no sense. It made sense from the storyline perspective of him trying to take over the company, right? But that's it. It didn't serve any purpose other than, well, Seth's got the briefcase, so now he's going to try to cash in on Jay because they already have that kind of like Jay's been involved in that storyline in the background, kind of.
Right. But
But
the only other thing I can see is if for some reason Seth does not cash in Monday night and he hangs on to it because we don't know what's going to happen once Cena's officially done in December and how they're going to do the belt afterwards.
yeah, I've said this about that belt numerous times. Now, a lot of you aren't going to agree with this. I know JR is going to lose his mind. Have Cena leave with that belt.
Yeah.
To get rid
And we're
of that,
seeing Punk move.
to get rid of that fucking title design.
Yes.
For fuck's sake, get rid of that garbage piece of shit looking belt.
Bring back the spinner belt, man.
I hate it. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. When Kevin Owens had the Winged Eagle and Cody Rhodes had that belt next to it, that belt felt like a fucking toy compared to the way that the Winged Eagle looked. So get
Right.
rid of that title design. Have Cena walk away with it, right? Have him walk away with it, right? Have him
Yeah.
walk away with it, and then just start a new championship over.
Yeah.
Like, just
Different design, everything.
yeah, exactly. Just do that, please.
Same way they rebranded the tag team belts. They did the same with the Intercontinental belt. Just
Yeah,
do something different.
just have a new title design. Like, just
Get out of the Vince era with
yes,
a new logo.
yes, absolutely. So I think Cena, in my heart, holds on to that until he leaves. But I think after what happened, and we'll get into that in the main event. We'll get to the main event in just a second. But after what happened, you guys, R-Truth is winning the WWE Championship.
Ron Killings is
Oh
winning
yeah.
the championship.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, you're right. Ron the Truth Killings will win the
Because
WWE Championship.
They already have Ron Killings merchandise
Yep.
that is being sold right now.
Is he on the roster right now?
Whoa, that's one I want to see. Let me look. One thing I want to say here, because I heard a comment about the debt. If anybody I mean, we all know financials, but I deal with this a little bit with the other end of the podcast, and I deal with the debt comes from the actual merger.
Yeah.
It's not a money loss.
Mhm.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, because someone can look up the residuals that came from last night.
Mhm.
The company will turn around, but it took a loss when it merged. You can go back and look at when Sprint turned into T-Mobile and everything else. When those companies buy another company and merge, or however they do it, unless they liquidate all the assets, like if they had just took WWE and UFC and called it WFC and got rid of everything else, they're still good, because they have one company, IMG, that made a lot of money, which is the licensing company that they have. So they have money. It's just when you merge with someone, you're going to have debt. So that's one thing in the perception that people are getting confused and thinking that, like, oh, they're losing money. No, they made a good bit of money last night with all the stuff that they were doing. Now, what I
By the
will
way-
say, what I
By
will
the way,
say,
yes, Ron Killings is on the roster.
Under the name Ron Killings?
Yes.
Yes.
His Twitter account also has been changed to Ron Killings.
Oh, whew.
wow.
So he's promoting Ron Killings on everything now.
So we're getting TNA R-Truth in WWE.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Why haven't they released Alba Fire yet?
Because she's nice to look at.
Or Apollo Crews, like, he just went and got a degree.
Yeah,
Like,
what the fuck is Apollo doing? Like, what is he doing? He's not even
NXT,
on.
I thought.
Like, I don't know what he's doing. All right, so I guess we can go to the main event, which in my opinion was the match of the night. I thought it stole the show. And one person I have to give credit to is Logan Paul.
Yes.
I
was going to
think
say the
that
same
kid,
thing.
like Andrew says all the time, if he would go full time, which he's kind of a full time guy, but he's on a part time schedule. You know what I mean?
He's pulling a Brock Lesnar right now.
Yeah. If he would be on Monday Night Raw every week and wrestle every week, he wouldn't be perfect. I wouldn't have a problem with him winning the world title if he was there. I wouldn't, because he's that good. Like, a lot of people are upset, like, oh my God. No, because he's been there for almost 4 years.
4 years already?
Yes.
Yeah.
God.
And here's the thing that's going to make the internet mad. At some point, he will win a world championship.
He will.
Just not now, because it's just.
I mean, as long as the guy doesn't get injured in any type of life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
I see him winning something huge.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to get mad at me because I've been a Logan Paul supporter since he started. He deserves it.
I mean, let's
awesome.
get one thing. Let's get one thing completely straight here. This is not a WCW giving David Arquette the title situation.
No.
Or allowing Dennis Rodman to be a tag team title, or Karl Malone being a tag team championship with somebody. This is someone who has put in the work for a long time, not someone who's just coming in for a few weeks, learning a few bumps, and then, going through and, being on camera, I've got the title.
Yeah.
This is someone who's put in some serious work and has shown he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't like him because they didn't expect him. The biggest problem with people and wrestling fans with Logan Paul is they're mad that he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they're pissed off. You know what I mean? And they're like, well, he's an asshole because he can have an asshole demeanor. But I've been a fan of
Yeah.
him since for a long time. I support Prime. I support everything he does. I'm a big Logan Paul guy. So the general audience of wrestling fans are like, well, he's just a YouTuber. He lost that title for me a long time ago. He's not just a YouTuber.
Once he proved he can actually do what he can back up his
Yeah.
mouth on this,
Yeah.
and he's proven week in, week out when he's
He
there. Every pay-per-view, every time he steps in the ring, he's proving he can hang with the big boys. You know, he's got my hand on this. I'm behind him on it.
Yeah. Every time he's on the card, he makes a moment.
Yes. Oh, and I loved when he had the drone in his hand, and then next thing you know, here comes Cody, and they just hang on to that camera angle from the drone that entire time, and then Jay does a frog splash on him right afterwards.
Yeah.
And you still keep that drone camera angle the entire time.
Yeah.
I actually loved that.
It was phenomenal.
Even though I was like 5 minutes behind you guys when it all happened.
Because it was so simple. Because you could have just had him do like the Cody spot and then have him drop the camera.
Oh, yeah.
But not seeing Jay and then just come out of nowhere was brilliant.
Oh, yes. Now, what I would love to see them to do is to go back and do the recap and have it live from what we would have seen on TV, as well as live from the drone footage in 2 screens. But I didn't see them do that.
Yeah. But like I said, I thought this was match of the night. I thought Logan Paul did great. I thought Cena did great. I thought everybody in this match did what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
But the biggest takeaway for me in this match, and JR, I'll get to you in a second because I can see you doing your little hat thing. That's when you got something on your mind that I said something really stupid, and you're looking at me with that stupid, like, oh my God, I can't believe you just said that look. But I thought it was match of the night, and I'm gonna pass to JR just because I'll talk about Ron Killings after he gets done tearing me a new one. So go ahead, JR. Say what you want to say here.
All right. On that card, not match of the night.
Yeah, it was
the best match John Cena has wrestled this year.
Yes.
Let's be honest with that. And as long as he doesn't bring back that crazy little whatever he did back in the day with that little chopped crap.
That fucking Bruce Lee punch.
Yeah. As long as he did, or the poke of death, if he ever steals that from Kevin Nash or Hogan. I meant Hogan. But here's the deal. Logan Paul is a superstar.
Yeah.
He is what TKO was looking for when it's integrating a new generation of wrestler.
Yep.
They want a wrestler that has a presence that they don't have to build or make. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing selfish about that. Because how many people do we have to release from NXT till we get quality? He is a quality athlete. He didn't need no NXT background. He was trained by some very good wrestlers. If you don't know who he's trained by, you can Google it. And this man has taken the art. And he's done what any artist does, anybody that does content creation. He learned beauty. And when he learned beauty, he learned the showmanship from his lion salt. But here's the thing. When you have the evilest person in wrestling making a video about you, Mr. Jim Cornette, and you can go look it up. Even though we know he has a beef with Chris Jericho, it's the point that that kid is agile. He has everything that Vince McMahon didn't like in a wrestler, and he's bringing it full front. He's bringing every aspect of a Ring of Honor, a indie wrestler feel, but with a professional polish.
Yeah, with a professional polish and the WWE production behind it to make it look good.
Right. Being able to take from the arsenal and step in the ring with the likes of an AJ Styles, to go one-on-one with a legend such as CM Punk. The feuds that he has, yes, he's getting a different treatment, but why not give him a different treatment when it's not necessarily, I don't care about the tickets he sells or anything like that. It's the point that he actually has people that follow behind him. It's almost like the whole Dominic deal. A lot of people didn't like Dominic at first, but you look at Logan now. Yes, I'm glad that he's no longer U.S. champion. That needed to come off of him. That was a little too that was premature.
Yeah.
But he is main event talent. He's not even
Yes.
upper card.
No, he's the main eventer.
And when you see that, and while he's there on the part-time Chris Jericho Goldberg schedule, because he's going to eventually go to the Goldberg schedule,
Right.
well, hopefully he doesn't. But if he stays around and he can take this more seriously, it would be time to let's challenge for the world heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have the prestige of taking a belt off of a John Cena or something like that. But he could have easily, if Cody Rhodes had a longer reign, he could have been the guy that dethroned Cody Rhodes. I could see him main eventing 2 WrestleManias from now.
Yeah.
wouldn't be
My
mad about that.
question is, you guys saw the little tease that we got for Cena versus Paul. Is that the match we get at Night of Champions, Clash of Champions, or whatever the fuck it's called? Is
Or
that the
No.
match?
You're gonna get that at main
No.
event unless he takes on the guy that did the ECW take. And before you get into what you're going to say about Mr. Killings and all that,
Mhm.
I want to shout out WWE for their constant nod at ECW for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Um,
All night long, there's those nods. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we even had an awesome bomb off the freaking top at World Collide.
right. So I've seen a lot of things that worked out there. So I'm saying, story wise, we know now that main event sets you up for something that you can't even think about. So to me, that's kind of scary because the main event used to just be a cop out.
Right.
It's just something. Let's showcase some wrestlers because we got to deal with NBC. And now, this match set up a good future for everyone except one guy. One guy lost stock in this match, and that guy's name is Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Jey Uso proved to me that they're going to treat him like Kofi Kingston.
And that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last night.
I was afraid of that too.
He is going to get Kofi Kingston, but he's not going to get the Brock Lesnar treatment, which would be a good rub for him because if Brock Lesnar came out and just took the belt, then we'd be like,
Right.
oh, all right. We let Kofi live after that. But Jey Uso is going to lose to a scrub, and it's going to piss everybody off. Unless, magically, Finn Balor can find himself into the main event.
He'd have to dig the fucking grave they built for him out first.
Right.
Don't even get me started on that. That'll be another hour and a half.
But I mean, meaningful wise, it's no reason. If someone doesn't cash in Monday night, then we're going to have a problem for the World Heavyweight Belt at SummerSlam. I'm looking past what we got going on now till SummerSlam. I understand that Jey Uso is doing the thing with the merchandise. Well, hell, LA Knight was doing the thing with the merchandise.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's focused on that because that money's still going into somebody else's pocket. Not all the TKOs. So, and no offense, one thing that took me away from Jey Uso, me and Stacey were watching it on whatever we were watching it on, and I seen my man do a Cash App commercial, with Big E.
Yep.
You're doing a commercial, a Cash App, you should be at least doing the cricket commercial.
Yep.
So that told me that they don't want to sell him too far down the road because they don't see a great end result with him. Yeah, and it's we'll give him his Kofi rub, and then he can come back and win it. The only thing that's going to be different is he'll get another title run.
Yeah.
But his title run will be with the WWE title because they've got to do that to solidify him as the best Samoan.
Yeah.
No offense to Roman Reigns, but we need someone that's a full-time guy that's the best Samoan. We don't have that.
Yep.
Or, if it had been a different time giving him the belt, if he had got that belt last year, instead of having Gunther, if Gunther could have just stayed the Intercontinental Champion, the world would have been fine.
Yeah.
With the way that they shifted the belts around, like I said earlier, you have a hard mid card that you can't change right now because you have 2 fledgling stars that's going to push the Hispanic people. You have a animal that's going to make everybody tune in, and it's going to bring up the idea of that Extreme Rules type wrestling can come about with Fatu. John Cena, he kept his poise and kept going with what he had to do. And I'm sorry, Lakota, but let me go ahead and give you the floor because you got to tell your story, your ECW story.
ECW story. What are you talking about? Oh, about R-Truth? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Whoa,
Um,
Madden timeout. Madden timeout
Huh?
on the field. Madden timeout.
Madden timeout. Okay.
All right. In ECW,
hmm
John Cena held the belt, and he took on a young man named Rob Van Dam.
One of the greatest
Yep.
pay-per-views of all time.
A man came into that match,
Yep. With a motorcycle helmet on
right,
and a hood.
and a hood, similar to what you're about to talk about.
Yep.
That is from a previous thing that happened in ECW prior,
hmm
which we can go deeper into all that stuff. We can go down that rabbit hole another day.
Yeah.
But that's called the ECW swerve.
Yeah, it's called the ECW Swerve.
Yeah. And that's what happened with what you're about to explain. That's why I'm giving you that historical reference.
Yeah. Okay, so R-Truth, or okay, I can't call you R-Truth no more. I'm sorry. Ron the Truth Killings shows up and calls John Cena this match in what could have been one of the best swerves in the last 10 years. Because we all believed it. We were all pissed off, right? And
Yep.
to me, I think there was some truth to it, but I think Triple H and Ron Killings and everybody at TKO got together before all of that went out and said, let's do something special here. Let's do something. Let's figure it out. I don't think it's and I know Andrew's going to say, well, it was probably a WrestleMania 40 situation where The Rock was going to take Cody's spot and they pivoted. I don't think it was that. I think this was their plan all along, but they know how stupid and ignorant the internet marks are, right? So we're all just going to believe everything they said. We're all going to pull a Kevin and say, well, I read this and this is what's going to happen, so this to me was one of the best ways to bring R-Truth back. I'm going to pass it to Andrew and then I'll go with JR to close the show. But Andrew, how did you feel about this turn or return, and how did it make you feel?
Well, obviously, I was very happy because I was one of those that when I saw that he was released after his match with Cena for the belt, I was pissed. I was brokenhearted. I was. He's a legend in the area, and it's no matter if you've seen him in WWE or TNA, wherever you got introduced to him at, you loved him, you hated him, you laughed your ass off at different little small moments when he was just being absolutely stupid, but at the best times possible, or you tuned in just to see if he could make the other person break when they're on camera. We could all point out different type of clips for that or who he got the best. But to see that he came out and he was the one that interrupted, because we knew there was going to be some kind of interruption at some point, because Friday night they were basically foreshadowing something was going to happen. And we got it. But yet what we got was the pulling the curtain back and seeing the wizard behind in Oz type situation, and seeing the old school creative when no one knew what was going to happen. But then this wonderful, stupid thing called the internet came out, and then the easiest leak possible can spoil any type of surprise that someone's going to be at the event. But we got the old school surprises back, which we haven't had in a while. And that was just brilliant. And then after the entire thing at the press conference afterwards, when the guy's asking, hey, was this something that was playing the entire time? Triple H just looks right at him. He says, did you enjoy the show? I love this question. Did you enjoy the show? You did? Good. It's all part of the show. And he just passed it on to the next one. Like, yes, we knew this the entire time, guys. Please have the faith in us that we're in this position for a reason. We love to entertain as much as we love to wrestle, as much as we could still be in there wrestling with these other guys because they love the business. And this is part of it. As much as they love to be in there, the blood, sweat, and fighting and everything, and the entertaining, they love being on the other side as a fan as well and seeing everybody else get entertained. And this was the best way to do it. Now, the fallout is there going to be someone show up Monday night? Is there going to be someone show up on Friday night? Or is it going to be no one shows up for a while to talk about it in person until the next 2-week event? When are they going to have it happen? I don't know. But I want to see there be a old school pissed off Ron Killings coming back and beating some sense. Like he said, I'm going to beat that hustle, loyalty, and respect back into you. and put the face back in Cena before he retires. Because yes, it was nice to see him do this,
but
they
it just
got
didn't
it out
work.
of the system. It truly didn't work the way people were hoping it would because they waited too long to do it.
Yeah.
Let's get him back to the way we loved him for the longest time before he gets out of the business.
Yeah.
Because when he's gone, he is gone.
Yeah. So that's your theory is that Truth or Ron Killings will beat the shit out of John Cena, and that's how we'll get him.
Yes.
Face.
Yes.
Okay. All right, JR, I'm gonna give the floor to you because when I said I don't think it was I don't think that they didn't switch plans. You kind of did your little thing that you do always to me. So go ahead, take the floor.
All right, so here we go. The Montreal screw job. Was it a work? Was it not?
I don't think we'll ever know that.
Have you ever seen Bret Hart?
If that was a work, they're playing this off for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Have either one of y'all ever watched the documentary Bret Hart Wrestling with Shadows?
Yep.
Yes.
So you've seen the behind the scenes there, like everything that went on.
Yep.
Yep.
Could that have been this? Maybe, maybe not. All I'm gonna say is the IWC went insane.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Miz playing his part in this too, acting like he's about to leave and all this other stuff.
They had his closest friends back there in on this too.
Right. So they pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and I appreciate this because this reminds me of a time when all we had was CompuServe internet and nobody cared about the internet.
Right.
And overall, I like I said, that homage to ECW. The way they did it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Will we get an acknowledgement of this? I'm going to go to what my co-host on Spares Under Review said. Ryan Killings is going to win a World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
He's going to win it off the back of John Cena.
Yep.
Don't know how, don't know when. Or if they're going to play the silly role, I can see Ron Killings winning the Intercontinental belt and dropping it to Cena.
I don't think we'll get a comedic version of him anymore for quite a while.
I think so. Yeah, I'm there with you. I don't think we will either.
I think, yeah.
But we know John Cena has to win the Intercontinental belt before he retires. That's a given.
Have to, but yeah.
But sir, whoa, sir. Then can he be the GOAT?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Ric Flair has the Intercontinental belt. Does he not?
Yeah.
And didn't he win it at the end of his career?
Yeah.
So can you truly be the greatest of all time without it?
In my opinion, yeah, but that's the only belt he's missing. So I get your point. So at some point, yeah, he might need to get that one.
And think about this. What if this John Cena run goes somewhere where he loses the world title?
Mm-hmm.
And he has to his redemption story is, well, all I need now is the Intercontinental belt. Who could beat some sense to him and make him turn back and him win it as a face than an evil Ron Killings?
Oh.
So
what if he becomes a little
off.
Ronnie? He becomes a little Ronnie, John Cena does.
Yeah, play that scenario though. So say that Ron gets the Intercontinental title. Does that mean that John still has the World Championship at that time, or does he have to lose that first before?
He's got to lose that first. He's got to lose that first.
Okay, so who would he lose it to?
There's no reason to keep all that gold on him like that.
Right.
Who does Cena drop it to though?
John Cena's got to drop it to the eldest statesman, Roman Reigns. That's a give me.
Because Cena's saying he's leaving with that title. He's not concerned about anything else.
Yeah.
Right, but we all know how the hand's going to play when the IWC gets tired of this John Cena. When the kids go back to school in September, they're going to be tired of John Cena being a champion.
True, yeah.
And we know now that TKO is not Vince McMahon WWE.
True.
When we put the arm behind their back, they listen.
Right.
Even if this was some kind of swerve, and if it wasn't, if it was real life, then that truly shows us now that not the IWC, but everybody else that's not part of the IWC has a say-so now. They're letting us actually, we got something we wanted. Not like the whole Cody Rhodes thing, because nobody really wanted that. That was just something
No.
they did. They did
No.
that for Dusty because he made NXT. But true. We need to do an episode on that one day because I've got 17 points. I got a spreadsheet. I got a whole PowerPoint I can do on that.
So you're saying Cody? Wait, go back to that. You're saying the whole Cody push was because of Dusty?
Okay, how old are you, young man?
21.
All right, let me tell you a quick story. This takes 2 seconds.
Oh, Jesus.
Do we have a recognized world heavyweight title reign in the WWE from Dusty Rhodes?
No.
Did we have one?
No, we never had one.
Okay. Have we ever had a true, outside of NWA, a WCW heavyweight title reign from Dusty Rhodes?
No.
Did he have a son beforehand that was considered one of the best mid-card wrestlers at one time? We shelved him 6 times through 3 promotions, because even TNA shelved his ass when he came out with that crazy bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
We shelved Goldust, and he's probably one of our best lackeys there.
Yeah. Cody
Cody Rhodes is the one exception.
Yeah, him and Hard Truth together. Jesus Christ, that was hysterical.
Right. So here's my thing. You have Cody Rhodes, technically a 3rd generation wrestler, 2nd generation, whatever.
Right.
That went out, left WWE, came back in, and he kind of followed the storyline that his father did. His father had, they were made fun of him because he's an NWA wrestler. He left, and then he came back with power when he came back. When he came back to WWE after running whatever he did with TNA and his little country thing down there in Georgia, he came back with a power and a purpose, right? We understand he's a booker and all this other stuff and everything else, and he built NXT pretty much. Our Roman Reigns wouldn't be the way they are. Tyler Black was who he was.
Yep.
The one time that John Moxley was decent, not wrestling, but I'm talking about on the mic, and was his first WWE title reign. I ain't gonna talk about nothing else, but the first initial strike of the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
You think Heyman was the one that orchestrated that? No.
No.
So, what favor can you pay to someone? Then have your son leave the company, rock the world, because every other company put a title on him.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
He was in the biggest faction in the world, and he was a stalwart in that. He wasn't even the best member of the Bullet Club when he was in his temporary time.
Right.
You have this man go to another company and help organize the biggest independent show of all time, which would have followed the same reigns as his father, because his father was NWA and he was grassroots wrestling. That's what Cody Rhodes is, and that's what his father was. When he won that title, who gave him that title? Was it Vince McMahon or Triple H?
It was Triple H.
And who is Triple H going to pay homage to?
Dusty.
Dusty Rhodes.
We have a Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that, look at Drew McIntyre. When he left and came back, we gave him a world title too. But here's the difference. Because of Cody's name, let's be honest. Is Cody Rhodes in your top 10 wrestlers?
All time or right now?
Yeah.
Is he in your top 10 wrestlers? I'm just asking as a generalized question.
Yes.
All right, I need the camera to go to Andrew now. No. Is he in my top wrestlers? My top 50? No.
He might be my top 100. Maybe.
Top 100.
But this is what is so great about wrestling. There's two, you guys are pretty much brought up in the same generation, right?
Right.
I'm the young head. So, of course, to me, Cody Rhodes is going to be in my top 10, top 20. But to you guys, he's not going to be. That's the beautiful thing about this.
But think about this. You grew up in a design in a decade that you didn't even know TNA version of Dusty Rhodes, did you?
Right.
Not at the time, no.
But I'm talking about early iteration of TNA. He was still wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
So imagine the mystique of your father never holding a true, he held a big gold belt, but he never held a true WWE title.
Mm-hmm.
And they give him that much respect. If Harley Race had a kid, his kid would be where Cody Rhodes is.
Yeah, because even the times that Dusty Rhodes held the NWA titles, he only held them for a short amount of time because he wasn't what TNA was looking for, or NWA,
Right.
according to Cornette.
Bill
Obviously.
Watts, and a bunch of other people.
Yep.
So you're really telling me that Cody Rhodes, a guy that built a competitor, went against Triple H when he knocked down all that stuff.
Yep.
He truly went against the grain and proved a point that independent wrestling is better than the WWE product. That the WWE really would put a title on this man just because of what he's accomplished? No. He will always live in his dad's shadow. Bro,
Yeah, he went and got that watch for him too.
And hold on, here's the other thing. I have never seen a professional wrestling game beyond AEW go on sale so fast than the Cody Rhodes edition of 2K.
No, I can beat. Okay, so I can beat that. So, what did the price go down to?
Bro, it went down to $20.
Okay, so that's not as big as the biggest drop off for 2K24 right now. I'm gonna tell y'all, we're gonna go on a rant because I'm pissed off. I almost spent $130 fucking dollars on a Bloodline edition. Thank God I didn't. A month after the goddamn game comes out, that game is out. The Bloodline edition with the Roman Reigns cover that's badass as hell came down to $40 fucking dollars.
Bro, that was some. We had bad economy going on. You can't do that.
I don't give a shit.
That's a bad
2K. We gotta have a conversation.
Well, no, but here's my thing. And Stacy's my witness, and we work in retail. That's our life.
Yeah.
I travel everywhere, and she's been with me at least 8 years now, 9 years, however long she's been with me, and we work for the biggest.
Give her a Purple Heart.
We work for the biggest. At the time we worked for the biggest retailer in the United States.
Yeah.
I am telling you, WWE with Cody Rhodes on the front. And even to this day, if you go look for a PlayStation 4 copy, they still got some out there in the wild. Rey Mysterio's copy still was selling for $25 when WWE, the John Cena edition was still selling in certain stores higher than 2K24.
Damn.
So I have never, and that's my whole thing about Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes got a good reign or whatever. But Cody Rhodes was never meant to be our champion. He's the IWC's champion.
I have a soft spot for him. I grew up with dashing Cody Rhodes, and I grew up with undashing Cody Rhodes, and I grew up with Stardust. He made fucking Stardust work. Okay, regardless of what people say about Stardust, Cody made it work for what he was given. He made it work.
I loved his match with him in Green Arrow.
Yes,
loved it.
He made that shit work. So to me, I will always be a Cody crybaby and say, yeah, he deserves everything he's getting right now. Yes, did his name help him get there? Absolutely. But did Cody Rhodes prove himself without his name? Because was he Cody Rhodes on the independent scene? Everybody knew who he was, but did he use the Rhodes name on the independents?
He couldn't, and his name was just Cody.
Exactly. But if he could have, he wouldn't have because he wanted to separate himself. Now, granted, he's always going to be in Dusty's shadow. You are correct about that. But to say that Cody Rhodes is only has only got a WWE championship because of Dusty Rhodes is ridiculous.
All right, wow, then let's go back to his actual training. Where was he trained at?
FCW, right?
Right. So what product is he? He's a homegrown WWE product.
Yep.
He's not an indie wrestler. He just did that to look cool so Bryan Danielson couldn't say anything bad about him, that he didn't work the indies.
Where is this hate coming from, Cody? Wait a minute.
Listen, because here's
just truth.
and then at the end of the day, let's be honest and let's be truthful. He's not even Randy Orton. Randy Orton is the best generational wrestler we've ever gotten. And look at Randy Orton now, the size that he is. And he doesn't even care about holding titles. He's about building wrestlers up. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes' reign. Cody Rhodes
agree with that.
He did not elevate or push anybody to the top.
No, I will 100% agree with that.
They brought John Cena back because he couldn't get the job done. Let's be honest.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I will agree with this. Cody Rhodes' title reign was one of the worst in history. But
he's like Bret Hart with a title.
Yes. He is better in the chase for a championship than as champion.
But why they have to bring John Cena back?
Why did they bring John Cena back?
Why did they have John Cena dethrone him when it would have been easier to just have Roman Reigns and we'd have good wrestling right now?
Because it's John fucking Cena.
But why did it have to be that belt? He could have went after the world heavyweight belt.
No, he couldn't have, because it's not considered the WWE Championship.
Well,
he
it
won
is
the 17-time reign, so he had to go after that one.
right. But the point,
I know.
Cody Rhodes had to lose his belt. Cody Rhodes is in the same position that I will say about CM Punk.
Be careful.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
careful.
I'm about to go
Be
here.
careful. Be careful.
What happened to CM Punk's almost amazing reign that he had? Who did he lose to?
The fucking Rock.
Okay,
But that
but hold on, I'm giving you similarities. I'm
Oh.
gonna cut you here because I can go all day with this. Was CM Punk over then?
yes.
But he was meaningful. He was a great champion. We still talk about his reigns. When he was gone, we talked about his reigns.
Yep.
8 years and 10 years from now, are we going to talk about Cody Rhodes? We're going to only be like, yo, Cody Rhodes was at All Out or All In, and he did a show with 10,000 people, went to TNA, went to Ring of Honor when they were still companies. They put belts on him, and the next thing you know, he got mad because of some situations with Tony Khan, and he went back to WWE.
I'll agree with you there. Cody Rhodes, as much as I love him and I think that he deserves everything he's had right now, will be remembered as the guy that John Cena finally turned heel on.
Okay, so that'll be his legacy.
His legacy will be his name. But to me, because you just said the only reason he won the WWE Championship was because his last name was Rhodes.
Right, they owed it to his father.
So you don't
Yeah.
think Cody Rhodes is a talented enough wrestler to be world champion?
He's talented enough to hold my Intercontinental belt.
Wow.
Maybe round one.
I'll trust him with that belt all day long. He'll elevate it. He can put the white strap back on it again, like he did.
You got any more of that medicine? Because I might need some.
Is Cody Rhodes good on the mic? No.
Yes.
What-
Yes.
What feud did Cody have with that world heavyweight belt that you can tell me that's meaningful? Besides with John Cena.
Nobody, and I've been critical of that.
And here's the thing. Think about all the star power that went into making him credible. They had The Rock beat him like a slave. They've had countless people.
Yeah.
They literally had to pour all of WWE creative into him and then fire them when it didn't work.
So
How many writers were fired when Cody Rhodes had his reign?
a bunch. But
For the next show, that needs to be a thing you give us the answer to. How many writers were fired during Cody's title reign?
that's crazy. Wow.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, somebody Google it. Because, okay, all right, I see your point and I get your point. But it's just mind-boggling to me that you just said Cody Rhodes could be my Intercontinental Champion, but not my World Champion.
He wasn't my world champion, even though he was Cody Raheem for a little while. I did give it to him. He should have got the freaking Kofi Kingston treatment.
Okay, so you just don't like Cody Rhodes.
I like Cody Rhodes. I love the disaster kick when he used to do it.
Okay, he still does it.
He does a stunner. When he hits that springboard, he's going to do that stupid stunner.
Cody Cutter. You're right about that. He does
The John Cena cutter.
That's not even comparable.
The John Cena cutter.
It's not comparable because Cena did a springboard stunner. Cody does a full-on cutter, man. Come on.
Javon Evans does a better cutter.
Yeah, because it's Javon fucking Evans. It's Jay
It doesn't
Malachi.
It doesn't say online how many writers were fired. All it says is there have been so many changes within WWE creative team during this time. The provided information does not quantify or attribute any firings directly to Cody title reign.
All right, so that was just a cop out. Them dudes got fired. Them dudes
just got fired.
Here's the thing: if a guy is transitional and he changes the way people think about wrestling, that's the only thing I'll ever give to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes made independent wrestling important. That's all he did.
Well, I won't go that far, but I agree with you that he made it important.
So, Andrew, you agree with him that Cody Rhodes is not a world title guy?
I won't agree that he's not a world title guy, but I think that they could have used the same path they used for Orton. They could have also used for Cody, but they didn't.
How many WrestleManias did we waste away for this?
Well,
Two.
I know. I'm just saying
Two.
they could have, but they waited way too long in his career to give him the push he should have gotten a long time ago.
Yeah,
If they were
he
going to
should have
give him
been
a
pushed
title
to the
shot,
world
like they
title
could have
when he
gave
was
the Hulk.
dashing Cody Rhodes.
Mm,
They had
Yes.
2 different titles they could have gave him the chance for. They never did.
Yes.
he could have
Even
gotten
when
big.
he was with fucking Damian Sandow, and he did that great feud with Damian Sandow over the briefcase.
I know. Yep.
He could have been champion big gold belt time around Christian's time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
Yeah.
they just didn't give him the same chances early in his career like they did for Randy Orton.
Yeah,
They gave him the chances at the smaller belts, but not the world belts.
Yeah.
2011, 2012, I could see that with him. But outside of then, no.
Yeah.
Like I said,
So, to rephrase your thing that you just said, Cody Rhodes is a main event guy, just in the wrong time period.
no, I'm not. Stop giving him all that credit.
I can't say that, because if they had pushed him back to what I originally said, if they pushed him the same way they pushed Orton, both of them being generational wrestlers with the big family names and whatnot that grew up in the WWE.
Yep.
If they pushed Cody the same way, then if he'd had the same growing educationally and whatnot, the same way Orton received and grew, then I could see it and I could say, yes, right now Cody Rhodes is a main event guy. But I'm happy they did give him his chance and allow him to win the title. Better late than never. And I like the story that they did it with. So I can't say that better guy.
All right, we're gonna have to do a hot takes episode one day, because apparently we have a lot.
But let me just get this one last thing, and this might help you. When I looked at Legacy and I looked around, I was like, damn, Ted DiBiase, I didn't know he was going to become the next Brett Favre. I didn't know that. But Cody Rhodes, until he dyed his hair, nobody cared about.
Right.
Oof. Okay. All right. That's a fair take. But I want to go ahead and close this episode here, because we could go for hours. But Andrew has work tomorrow. I have things to do tomorrow. JR's got things to do tomorrow. So we're gonna wrap this episode up. I want to thank you guys again for watching our show. It means the world to me. It means the world to JR, and I'm sure it means the world to Andrew. If you guys like what you see here, please don't forget, you guys got comment sections on YouTube and Spotify. Hit us with it. We want feedback. We want to see what you guys think. Call JR a buffoon sometimes, because sometimes he is a buffoon, but I love him. He's my lovable buffoon. Thank you guys for watching Main Event Mafia. We will catch you guys next week in the next episode. Thank you guys. And